Good morning this morning. Welcome to the seventh edition of the Cisco Morning Huddle.
You can't keep a good man
West, I'm
down.
Lee Lewis. We're live here at First Financial Bank in beautiful Cisco, Texas. It's looking a little rainy today, but don't let that stop you. Thank you for listening. Come on in. If you have time, get some refreshments, say hello. And please be sure to thank all the folks here at First Financial Bank for sponsoring this weekly edition of the Cisco Morning Huddle. Last Friday night, the Cisco Lobos opened their district schedule on the road in Holly, and they left Forest Field with a huge win, beating the Bearcats 64-12. Coach West, welcome into the show once again. Congratulations on the win. Big win for your club. Start off District 1-0. How did the staff feel coming out of the game with Holly last Friday night?
Oh, we felt good about it. You know, it's one of the first times we can honestly say we played well in Holly, Texas, and we've played over there a lot over the last 12 years that I've been in Cisco, and we've not ever played well there. And it's usually a flat environment, and I can throw up lots of excuses for you, but we played well Friday night, and that is a first time. I really was pleased with how our kids got after it on both sides of the ball. We were disciplined, especially on defense. We kept our eyes out of the backfield, and we stayed true to our reads. Just did a great job, and I was pretty pleased. I thought we got a lot out of the game.
Good deal. Guess you spent a lot of time last Friday night, based on what we saw, throwing a lot of passes in the first quarter. Share your philosophy with that part of the game as a play caller and the purpose for you guys moving forward in regard to the passing game.
Well, I know that seems pretty rare for us. So, you know, usually I want to score on the ground. That first touchdown, we usually do it. We do it on the ground. We establish running game. But I felt like, we were the best football team. And I really took a harder path. Their secondary was pretty good. Probably the best part of their defense was their secondary. They could run, they were physical, they were disciplined. And we really took a harder path by throwing the football. It was a harder way to score, but it's something that I felt like we needed to get some good out of. We could have tossed the smash and possibly the sweep and scored in just a couple of plays. You know, Landon Lewis had one carry for the smash for a touchdown. Mason Reed had 2 carries for a touchdown from the tailback position. The harder route was throwing the football. And I felt like it was good for our offensive line to have to protect our quarterback with 7 people coming at him. I don't think we ever saw an outside linebacker back up and cover a curl or even cover anything. They were coming after Kent. So I thought it was good for our offensive line to have to see that. We got a lot of man coverage. It was good for our receivers to have to see that. And it was just the harder route, but I felt like it was the most beneficial thing that we could do at the time.
Probably didn't bother Colton too much to throw. I think you guys ended up 10-16 maybe.
Yeah, we probably heard his passing stats a little bit. He's been 4 for 4 and 6 for 6. We had about 6 incompletions, but still it was good for us. We got to practice that, and it was definitely be helpful down the road.
I suppose maybe the only real disappointment for everybody was that senior fullback defensive tackle Vernon Owens suffered an injury that is probably not something we hope that's going to keep him out for a long period of time, but it's certainly something that is going to need some attention going forward. Vernon, and as well as the rest of the team, kind of addressed the injury status this morning.
Well, Vernon's had that little hamstring issue for a while. He hurt it in an off-season practice last year. He hurt it running the first base during baseball season later that year. It's something that we struggled with, but he did yank it a little bit there in the second half on the trap. He's been in the training room every morning religiously with Kelly Cozart. Kelly says it's not quite as bad as we thought it was going to be. I actually felt like he was probably going to play a little tonight as a defensive tackle, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think we're going to let him heal up another week and see what he looks like in practice. But he's doing well, and the rest of the team is very healthy at this point.
That's good news to hear going forward, and I pray that continues that way for the rest of the season. It's time for us to take our first break here at First Financial Bank Cisco Morning Huddle. Thanks for joining us. Stop on by. We'll take a 2-minute break on 97.7 KTX Radio. Pumpkin cookies over here today. Good stuff going on in the lobby. And once again, we're joined by Coach West. Last night, Coach West, the JV, the junior high, everybody, pretty good crowd, even from the townspeople travel down to Coleman for some, what we felt like, and I think everybody felt like were pretty big games going into each of the contests last night. Talk a little bit about, let's start, we'll just take them in order, 7th grade, 8th grade, and JV's games last night.
Well, the 7th grade won 30-0. They got their second shutout of the year, two weeks in a row, in fact, and they are undefeated right now in district play. They have one loss to Comanche, and we tied Dublin, but they are getting better every single week and obviously playing very well on defense right now. Running back Jeremy Dotson had several touchdowns, ran that smash play that we like to run so well at that level very well. I thought Cooper Witt played well. He's operating that system at the quarterback, and there's a few little reads we throw in at the 7th grade, and I thought he operated extremely well, for a 7th grade quarterback. The 8th grade lost 32-30. It was another great game. We did play that game without Orson. We'll have Orson back next week, so we had 15 that suited up. And I'm pretty sure that Coleman had over 30 suited up. They definitely had us outnumbered. We got tired. Obviously playing a 4-quarter game with 15 kids, you're going to get tired in the 4th. But we had a chance to win that game at the very end. I thought we had a poor spot. I'm sounding like a parent now in the stands. I thought we got a poor spot on that last 4th down play. We ran a little reverse or a tackle trap to our Z, and I felt like he got the first down, dadgummit. But anyway, they did pull it out, and they beat us 32-30. Our fullback, Sean McAllister, played extremely well. Ran the G well, hit the quick trap for a long touchdown. Pretty pleased there. And defensive end, Jacob Reed is getting better every week. He's a huge factor for us defensively. He did a great job containing the sweep, containing the quarterback. And those kids are getting better. We felt like we were a better football team yesterday and just took one on the chin. But those guys will bounce back and recover. The JV had probably as good as we played offensively all year long. We won 56-30. Dalton Cozart ran that smash and toss extremely well, had some long touchdown runs, did a great job cut on a dime. I thought Case Gale played well. He ran the midline and veer extremely well. He only had one misread that I saw, and he made a way to make that work. But the veer and midline worked extremely well. He had some long runs, and the O-line, I can't say enough about it. They're getting better. They did a great job opening up some big holes. Defensively, we gave up a few long touchdown passes. They had one kid that could get it pretty well. One toss sweep got loose. But for the most part, I felt like we played well there too. And Simone Fuentes, I can't say enough about him right now. It's defensive tackle position. He's playing well enough that we're probably going to look at moving him up for Hamilton next week. The things that they do, we feel like we need him, and he's a 6-foot, 220-pounder, and we might need his size against the Hamilton Bulldogs next week. But very pleased with how he's playing defensively.
And found a way on special teams again last night, or defense, I guess you should call it, on the punt return. Blocked the punt. And then I believe Dylan Brunson scooped that thing up and took it in for a touchdown.
We did, and I believe that was Tanner Griffin that blocked the punt, and he's close every week. Every week he gets extremely close to blocking one, and he finally got one last night, and Brunson scooped and scored.
Yeah, big win for them. Winning streak for the JV continues. It's been a long time since those guys have lost a district game. These kids, I don't know, it's hard to gauge emotions of kids, especially 14, 15-year-old kids playing on Thursday night, but it seems like every week maybe they're up a little more to keep that streak going. And it's not so much about the streak as it is they just want to do well. How do you feel about the physicality of the Cisco level of JV team?
I didn't think that was a physical group at the start of the year. I felt like we were very unphysical. But every week, I think we stepped that up. I think we've become more confident. I think that was probably part of the problem. There's more freshmen playing on this squad than I've had in a very long time. You take a kid that played 8th grade football last year and you move him up into the high school and they're playing against bigger, faster kids. It takes a little time. And I think now they're realizing that their football players on the JV of the Cisco Lobo JV, and we're going to become more physical and more confident every week. And I think I see them growing up, which is important. I think confidence is probably the biggest factor there. But yes, to answer your question, I think we're a physical football team now, and I think we'll get more physical as the year progresses.
All right, time for us to take another break. Once again, we're live here at First Financial Bank in Cisco. So I'm going if you have time. One more section coming up. Listening to the Cisco Huddle on KATX. Back in 2 minutes. Please stay tuned. Once we're through here, Terry Slavin and Coach Mike Gillen over to East Leaves the morning home. And of course, you can catch all the action in both games tonight. Eastern Mavericks and Merkel Badgers on 97.7 KATX. Cisco and Coleman tonight here at Cheslin Field on 98.5 KWBY. Coach West, tonight is game 2 of the district schedule. Talk to everyone about your thoughts concerning this Coleman Blue Cat offense and defense that the Lobos are having to go up against that.
Well, I think what stands out about Coleman is their speed on both sides of the ball. They're fast. They are the fastest team we've seen all year long. They're not the biggest, probably not the strongest, but they are by far the fastest. I know Anson is a good football team, and that they have a lot of speed, and I've seen that video. Anson had trouble moving the football because of the Coleman speed. They couldn't break that long one. The Coleman kids ran it down, and then they would regroup and put together a goal line stand or just find a way to stop them. And their speed is the biggest factor of that. And it's something that is extremely hard to teach through the week with JV and scout team kids that just don't simply have the same type of speed. So how do you do that? How do you teach that during the week? You just can't get that done. So you hope that our kids grow up tonight and they are able to contain the speed that they have. But both sides of the ball are extremely fast, and that's the fear. Can we contain their running back, Hemphill, who they also move out to receiver, to protect that long run? That's something that we're worried about. And defensively, it's going to be harder to break those longs. They run a split on defense. We hadn't seen that defense since the Albany scrimmage. They're split 6, 4-man front. They have one outside backer that I understand is injured, and I don't know for sure who that replacement is. And I know they've been banged up a little bit last week in that Hamilton game. They also possibly have lost another inside linebacker. So knowing exactly the personnel that we're going to see tonight, we'll just have to find out in the first quarter. Offensively, they run a spread offense, and that's different for him. He runs a very similar offense that we do, and what you saw at the junior high and JV levels. They run a lot of midline and veer from under center with a little gun mixed in, but he has adapted to his personnel. It feels like this quarterback can run the spread system a little better. Yet he can get under center and do both, which is scary. It's just something else to work on. But so far, I've been very impressed just with how they operate on both sides of the ball and the speed that goes with that.
As far as the Blue Cats are concerned, it's hard sometimes to make comparisons, in all fairness, and say apples are apples, but how would you say this team from Coleman compares to somebody like the Stanford Bulldogs?
I think they're comparable. They're faster than Stanford, with the exception to Washington. They're overall faster than Stanford. And I think that I didn't expect that until I saw the video. I think they have a much better defense than Stanford had. At least watching the video, and obviously that's hard to compare. But I feel like they will be a tough match. I don't know about their injuries. I don't know if those kids will be playing tonight, but that's always a factor. They've got a bunch of two-way starters. Stanford had some. Stanford's got great numbers for a Class A school. But they have a lot of two-way starters. They probably have, I'm going to say we'll see 8 tonight that's starting both ways. And that's something we need to take advantage of. The same advantage that Coleman had on us yesterday at the 8th grade level with all of our two-way guys with only 15 suited up, we need to be able to take advantage of the fact that they're a little thin at the varsity level right now. Although fast and athletic, they've got a lot of two-way starters.
All right, on paper at least, it would seem that this game could be the one that would determine maybe the district championship. Know that you guys look at the schedule and it's one game at a time, week in and week out, and you want to win all of them. But from a fan's perspective, from an outsider's perspective, would you say that's a fair assessment of tonight's game against the Coleman Blue Cats?
Yeah, I do. I think that's a fair statement. Just an outsider looking into that, and if you just looking at scores and stats, I would say Coleman's probably the best team in the district, and it's obviously an important game tonight. However, Hamilton's been banged up. They're getting kids back. I know for a fact, I've talked to Coach Gainey, Colorado City's got some kids hurt. When will they get these kids back? Will they regroup? Will they get something started? So you just it's just hard to look at the paper and the stats and decide for sure, who the best competition is.
Sure.
Because you have to factor in the injury factor and who they'll have back, and you just never know on a Friday night.
Right, week to week could be a lot different. There are a couple other big games as far as the district is concerned. You guys just finished playing Holly this past week. They take on Ballinger tonight. How do you feel like the Red White Bearcats match up with Ballinger tonight in that game?
I do feel like Ballinger's going to have a hard time stopping that fullback offense. They'll have to be disciplined defensively. I've not yet seen Ballinger on video. But on the other end of that, I think Holly will have a hard time stopping the athletic ability of Ballinger, and I think that game will be played from Ballinger. I'm going Ballinger by 2 touchdowns.
Really? That's going out on a limb there. I appreciate it. Of course, the other pivotal game, and you mentioned Hamilton a while ago, getting injury, people back from injury as well as Colorado City. That's last week Colorado City fell to Ballinger in a really tight game, 7-0. I guess if you're a fan of defense, that would have been a great game to watch. I'm sure it was really intense. A lot of people maybe feel like that was an upset. How do you feel about Colorado City tonight against Hamilton?
Well, Hamilton's driving about 8 hours to get to Sioux City. That's the biggest problem. I don't know how long a trip that is, but that's quite a drive, and I think sometimes folks don't realize what that does to your team on the old yellow dog bus, that the air conditioning doesn't work on, trying to drive over to Sioux City coming off a loss. I think the mental aspect of that's pretty important. However, I've seen Hamilton on video, and they're still very good at getting the 3.3 yards. They have a huge offensive line. They did get their tailback back. They already had a good fullback. And I understand Colorado City's defensive line is graduated from last year. They're very small. Sioux City's going to have to pile in there and find a way to stop the 3-yard game. Hamilton's going to take some chances. They're going to go for it on 4th down. So 3 yards is definitely enough yardage to keep moving the clock and keep moving that ball. Hamilton's going to have to keep the ball out of Sioux City's hands, who is a spread system, and doing a pretty good job of throwing the ball. But I've also seen Hamilton's secondary, so they'll have a little bit difficult time stopping that passing game. This is going to be a close one, I feel like, but I do think Hamilton is going to get their first win tonight, and it's going to be a close one.
They're looking for their first win. Both teams looking for their first district win, so that's a really big game. And I guess the other interesting thing is, at least for people who just enjoy looking at the playoffs and trying to figure out who it is going to get in. This year it's more exciting because there's 4 teams. So even after tonight, if somebody's 0-2, they still have a chance to be good.
Exactly. That's in talking to Coach Scudamaker last week. They have a chance to get in with one win, maybe. That could do it. And so there's still a lot of hope for these teams. They're still going to play hard, even that last ball game where sometimes you just don't have that.
Well, one thing's for certain. There's going to be a big matchup in Cisco tonight. The Blue Cats and the Lobos can square up in Cisco Huddle. We will have the pregame beginning at 7 o'clock on KWBY 98.5. I believe you can get that on the radio app. Tune in on KWBY 98.5, and then online on your computer or laptop, it's kwbyradio.com. 7 o'clock again, pregame. Kickoff is at 7:30. Blue Cats and Lobos, and the next to last, it's hard to believe the season's already going by this fast, but this is the next to last time the Lobos will be playing at home. And so we want to invite everyone to be there. If you can't be there, please be sure to listen online. Coach West, thanks for coming in again. Best wishes tonight.
Thank you very much, Lee.
All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us here at First Financial Bank in Cisco Morning Huddle. Be sure to stay tuned here on KTX Radio. Terry Slavens and Eastern Maverick Athletic Director and Head Coach Brian Hewlett will be up next. For everyone that's been a part of this one, Matthew back in the studio, Coach West and myself, thank you. We'll talk to you again next week.